It's a case of not too young to run or not yet ready.
My life starts very early because when I be there 10 years old, police enter my village, scatter the place.
To free movement.
Now violation of my right, my arrest, my detention,
Yes.
my restriction.
Now since that night, now I make decision as a 10-year-old say, when I reach time, I go fight to ensure safety.
We still dey under neo-colonial control. Now we come dey inside internal recolonization by our.
Making money out of Boko Haram.
Oh, you know.
You just made a statement. You
Yes,
have to
so-
actually clarify it.
Thank you very much. So, you know, I used to be an investigative reporter before I came to this. And I did most of the investigative reports that led to the arrest of several military officers, the Navy, the Air Force, when Buhari came into office. And then they set up their own investigation in the government. And the moment that investigation was going in the direction of some of their serving political office holders or army generals, they shut it down. I mentioned at that time that Dambazo was indicted, but they didn't allow the indictment to take place because he was a member of the party. Even the current chief of army staff, we had reports showing that he had homes in Dubai that he bought when he was part of the procurement of military hardware. This evidence was presented. They were making payments to the bank for the homes in Dubai. An army colonel was being sent to the bank to pay regularly to First Group, which was later quietly shut down. That's the problem. Usually, if you go to Abuja hotels, the people that you find a group called First Group. They stand around in the lobby asking you to buy houses in Dubai. Sometimes it's not full properties. It's to buy a fraction of properties in Dubai. They eventually shut them down quietly so that they cover up all of this. They continued with that. These are not something that happened in the past. These are things that continue into this current government.
Sure, about a week ago.
I wanted to say finally, also, not finally, but one of it is how they do deals with some of the girls that were rescued. You need to know the amount of money that were involved
How
in
much?
the deals. Well, it was about 5 million euros at the time for a set. As a matter of fact, we heard at that time, part of our investigation, that Boko Haram wanted to release all the girls at once, but they told them to hold on because this is business for us, let's be doing it gradually. When they took girls from Dapchi, they got a lot of money too. So it got to the point that you're wondering, why is it that they just don't allow Boko Haram to have an embassy in Abuja? So that we know that they are legitimately a government controlling part of our territory.
Okay, let's talk a bit about your campaign.
Yes.
About a week ago, you started this 100 city tour.
Yes.
I don't know whether you can cover 100 cities within the short time you have left before the election. But you went to Daura,
Yes.
the home of the
President
Buhari. What did you see there? How was the reception?
It was the
Because I heard some of them were calling you
Saber box.
Saber,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Saber.
So when we were actually on our way to Katsina, which is the capital of Katsina State, his home state, and we got to Dara, and it was night. So we were hoping that we can just pass through the place, only to find out that people were waiting for us, And we followed them, and we were shocked. First, we were shocked that the place was dark, no electricity in Buhari's hometown, and then.
Well, why should there be electricity there when there is no electricity in other parts of Nigeria?
Well, we found that to be surprising because we had thought that as president of Nigeria, at least, as they say, charity begins at home. If they are showcasing that they have achieved a few things, including improvement in electricity, you would like to see it in the home of the president. He doesn't live in a jungle. But let's move on. We got there, only to find a lot of young people saying, man, we love you why did you come in the night? We'd have loved to take you around Taifa. They promised to take us to in front of his house to remind him that he's coming back home. They don't want him to continue as president of Nigeria. And then we went around and it turns out that the people of Dara are complaining about Buhari as much as the people of Abonima in Port Harcourt, elsewhere that you can go in Nigeria. They are tired of President Buhari. In fact, I don't know if they wanted to come back home because for a lot of them, there was a disgrace. One of the kids was sent to us on tape that Buhari is finished. Buhari is finished. That was in his hometown. We were surprised at the reception because typically we thought maybe there could be some hostility and it was night. It wasn't so. And this was live. We taped it live as we were rolling through the town, and as we approached the exit of the town, these kids follow us. I mean, young people mostly. And that was how we started the Save a War, and which is an opposite of Save Baba. You know, I think they're tired of all the babas, and they're asking that, you know, we continue the life of the country on the younger person.
Let me ask you two questions. One taking back to security. Just yesterday, you described the Nigerian police force as an occupation force for the ruling All Progressives Congress. Are you worried that the police is not neutral going into this election? That's my first question to you.
Yeah.
Secondly, let me ask you about funding of election campaigns in Nigeria. We've heard presidential candidates on this show saying that they feel disadvantaged already because they do not have the resources the major parties have. However, they say they don't need so much funds to pass their message to Nigerians. You are doing a crowdfunding for $2 million.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't reach that mark? Would you resort to those you so much reprove as godfathers?
Yeah. So the first question about the police, I was quite appalled at what the police did yesterday. To the Adeyanju, who was protesting against police seeming lack of neutrality in the election. And when I read the press release of the police, I found out that they're charging the chief for, you know, all kinds of very nebulous crimes. I couldn't believe it. In fact, they said at the end of their press release that they presented evidence of, you know, what I thought would be weapons. And it turns out there were Facebook posts and posters to say that, you know, the police should be neutral. It's very, very despicable that Nigerian police got to that. And you could tell that they found themselves in a defensive state, because since yesterday, they have been issuing releases to defend why they did this ridiculous thing. I was a student activist in the 90s, and even in the 90s, this would be ridiculous under military rule that police will arrest somebody for protesting.
Expressing an
opinion. And I do that all the time. And what you are saying is that they are just using DG, and the rest of them as social experimentation for what they will do to candidates that are critical of the government, or even political interests of parties. So we must all condemn this, and it should not be allowed. They have stepped over their bounds, and we must condemn it. I'll go to crowdfunding, which is what we're doing. We've reached 100,000 dollars. Now, out of $2 million that we said we want, or we want to raise, and this is a way of getting Nigerians to own the electoral process or the campaign process, because otherwise politicians just save money in bags and distribute to people. They save Ankara, distribute to people. They distribute rice that are branded. But in this case, we're getting people interested and excited and energized to say, look, you know, if you put your money in political process, you support the candidate, you're likely to be more interested in what happens to this candidate and how they're running their campaign. And it brings about political participation at a level that they've never seen before. So, but in order to save ourselves the embarrassment of running short of the money we need, we also open a Nigerian account, Zenith Bank account, where we raise over 35 million naira almost now. People are donating. Yes,
that's interesting.
Yes, so we are close to 100 million naira. We're about 72 million naira now, and people are making donations. And every night we also announce for people who want their names to be announced how much they donate.
But I hope you are aware that the EFCC is saying that look, all of these monies contributions should be reported to the last detail.
Yes.
And the spending, the disbursement should be reported.
Yes.
I hope you are keeping records.
We'll keep records. But we hope that the EFCC is also tracking records of the spending by APC. We heard the other day that the Kano State Governor, Kandola, also contributed. No, we call him Kandola. I just came from Kano. They changed his name to Kandola because of the way he was collecting dollars in America. So they call him Kandola. In case you haven't heard about it, that's his new nickname, Kandola. So he donated 10 million naira to the EFCC. Although the EFCC denied it, but they haven't denied it convincingly. Yes, in a way. But we have also found governors to use state resources to donate buses to the Buhari campaign, and all these buses are available. We don't have to worry about it, but we are just saying that those who are, coming to equity must come with clean hands, and that applies also to the People's Democratic Party. They must explain in details how they got the money in Port Harcourt to bribe all the delegates that voted for Atiku. So we hope everybody is keeping records, and EFCC will do a great job of making sure that they're impartial, so that they don't turn themselves into the Nigerian police with their despicable acts of yesterday.
Although you really didn't answer my question, I said if you run short of the money you need,
so running short of money is not the same thing as running short of support. The way to break it down is that apart from the cash, people are also making kind donations. They're donating apartments, cars for branding for us. People are taking over. We have a process where individuals can also support wards, chairmen, campaigners, and people who are canvassers directly without getting through us. We had someone, for example, who donated over 15 megaphones to us from New York. We just brought them yesterday. And these are ways through which we can support. But we hope that more Nigerians will come out, because we need about 400 million naira more.
And you have about 100 million now?
No, at this point 73 million naira has been raised creatively. And this has been done transparently as well. So EFCC can also go to our Facebook, our GoFundMe account page.
And also contribute.
And they can, we don't need EFCC contribution at this point. Since they themselves are taking
that would be a breaking news, and I'm just a hard to carry that as well.
If EFCC contributes to my campaign, I'll be entitled to it. Since they started,
Right.
I think Sahara reporters have supported EFCC the most. So, but we won't take it as an issue. If they are members, they are respective officers, okay, that's not to contribute, they are free to do so.
I'm sure they are listening to you.
Yeah, sure, and they're not far from here.
Anyway, thank you very much. What's that your new name?
Sowore.
It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
Yes.
It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeanyi will join us to review some of the top stories on today's newspapers. Stay with us.
Nigeria, they use computer. The leaders of Nigeria, they use radio where they turn the knob.